So, you want to learn Blender. Congrats. So does like half the internet right now. But I hope you actually go ahead and do it. I hope you open up that app, see that cockpit of a menu UI system, and still have something going for you to want to continue learning. I know people understand that Blender is a complex app, that it's very hard to get into. You are wearing like multiple hats to get anything done on that app. And just like anything else in life, you need a plan. More than a plan, you need a roadmap. And what do I mean by roadmap? I realized that at the beginning of this year, I really wanted to get decent at Blender. And in order to do that, I needed to continually help myself to be motivated by hitting certain check marks, not by necessarily by certain dates, but I knew that, okay, once I level up from here, I'm going to go to here. And once I level up from here, I'm going to go to here. This video is hopefully going to talk about, number one, my progress so far in learning Blender for the past 6 months of the year, and also some tips that people can get into, I think, that kind of help me to continually be motivated to continue to open up that godforsaken app and continue to create, because more than ever, we need people creating, as the last video I posted on my main channel kind of spoke about. Why do you want to learn Blender? Seriously, ask yourself this question. I think it might be cool for you to get a notepad or get something written down on a notes app for you to actually kind of finalize your thoughts and kind of bring them out on stage. But there's probably a reason you like Blender. Maybe there was some TikTok you saw, maybe there was some music video that you saw and you found out it was made by Blender, it was made on Blender. Or if you're anything like me and a very subsection of people, you've always just thought of animated sequences in your head when you listen to music or whatever, and now you finally want to act on it. Why do you want to learn Blender? And be specific about this. What aspects do you want to learn about Blender? Is it character modeling? Is it animation? What kind of little mini shorts do you want to make? What is the grander goal? And then once you have that grander goal, I think what is actually beneficial is to start listing off other creators that are doing something similar and then listing what you like about that thing. I can show you how I kind of did it. Right, so things that inspire me and the skills that were needed. Exactly like this, right? So obviously, I think TikTok and Instagram are really eating with people showing off very short bursts of animation and work for their portfolios, whether they're doing it professionally or not. And I'll get into why that's great. But you can see here, I have an affinity for a low poly video gamey-esque kind of style. So you don't know Spurbundafire. He is an amazing animator slash designer slash skit maker who green screens himself into these low poly kind of scenarios. I haven't done that too much yet, but again, I'll get into why I haven't done that, because I focus on another strand of my inspiration, which is right now character animation, but originally it was modeling. But David, little mini shorts like this.
Hold on! Calm yourself, Fumo, please!
Dude, chill.
So I kind of had like people that I had in mind, right? So in order to get to this level that I wanted to do, I knew that I needed character animation. Okay, well, I want to be able to animate well. What else do I need? I need a character. I need character design. I also need to learn how to emulate certain styles with video game graphics, with geometry nodes, with shaders. All this stuff are different aspects. They're literally different headers. If you open up Blender, there is different layouts for different things you want to do. There is a texturing layout. There is a modeling layout. There is an animation layout. There is a UV editing. There is freaking geometry nodes, compositing. All of these different things are different hats, and you will overwhelm yourself if you just go straight in. That's another thing I want to do. I think it's worth coming up with some tutorials for each aspect you want to hit. And I think you should really only hit one or two. Most people are probably going to do modeling or animation, or maybe you want to do modeling with an asterisk on background modeling. It's not just character modeling, but with animation or with geometry nodes or whatever. And find like one or two people and then just go for it. I think there's such a thing where I saw this TikTok about this, that we are fiends. We are addicts of hitting something, like saving something for later and never coming back to this. I'm very bad at this on TikTok, where I will save something, some kind of thought piece, some kind of tutorial, and I'll never go back on it, to the point where now I actually spend time in the week to go look at my folder to see what tutorials can I hit, what things can I do. So what was I saying? Hit up a tutorial. If you want my honest opinion, if you're trying to get into character modeling, do not do the donut course, okay? I think the reason why I want to make this video is because there is this meme that the first thing you do when you want to learn Blender is to do the donut tutorial. And for me, I didn't find the donut tutorial all that interesting. It just didn't really suit me, and it didn't really feel like I was progressing towards this roadmap, which is why I told you to have a roadmap. Because with every single thing that you do that you've already listed as like you're going to do this in order to further your grander goal of making this big animation project or this big thought piece or artistic piece, you feel like you're making headway. And there's enough resources online that you can get a tutorial for something a little bit more specific to your taste. So for modeling, I found this dude who is very big in the Blender community as well, and he was way more suited to what I wanted to do personally. And that's not me knocking the donut guy, but also I knocked the fact that he's become the #1 guy for like everything, anybody who wants to do Blender at all. Like I get it's a meme, but I don't think it's very helpful. Grant Abbott is great, and this tutorial right here, I had to swallow a pill and say, you know what, I know Blender. I've been using Blender for about 2 to 3 years, but I really need to sit down and understand the basics. So outside of maybe like a small 30 to 20 minute course on just getting around the Blender UI system, which he goes into, but it might be good just to watch a video beforehand. I recommend this character modeling course where from beginning to end, he takes you through the steps in recreating, if he wants to show the finished project of this, which is you learning modeling, with you learning lighting, with you learning different shaders and whatnot. So you are hitting a lot of aspects that like you will have to deal with when you start learning Blender to a pretty extensive amount. But I like the idea of little mini compositions to tell a story, because I love telling stories no matter what it's about. So the fact that I was able to do this, I don't know if I can find a Blender project for this, but so then once you've done a couple basic things, again, courses that are pertaining to you, there's so many different things. Another creator that's really, really good, and like I mention her because she's super niche, because look, no hate to the guys, but I come from people who want to emulate video game graphics and different aesthetics and like Gen Z-esque things. So I'm not going to be that motivated if you're telling me I'm going to do a course on how to build like a low poly house. For some people, that's cool. But let me see if I can find it. Intranet Girl. She makes Blender tutorials, and because she's also entertaining, but she has super niche tutorials, she was great as well. And she does like slice of life stuff as well. But like, look, how to turn into a PS1 hologram. For some of you, this is right up your alley. This is what I want to do. So like, why not, you know? And she's explaining things as she's going. So the course itself is like pretty interesting, you know? And she has like a bunch of tutorials on this. So if you're trying to emulate like an internet aesthetic online or whatever, this is your girl. There's so many different people now that, like, the thing I think is about Blender, there should never be a monopolization on where to go for resources. The fact that Blender is open source means like it's a community effort to keep Blender like going and keep Blender open to beginners to try different things. So never feel like you have to go to the donut tutorial if you don't feel like the donut tutorial is serving your overall purpose of what you want to get out of Blender, you know? So yeah, all that to say, in your roadmap specifically have the sections of things you want to hit, maybe 2 to 3, maybe 3 max of aspects you want to learn from Blender, and then start listing out some YouTubers that can help you with that, and then just go for it. Go for it, and it will be satisfying when you finish the course, you come back and you can knock that off the list and say, I've done this, on to the next thing, okay? Right now, I did character modeling. Then I actually created my character, which involved me learning how to rig, weight paint, all the extra stuff that I don't want to scare you about, but it takes a while to learn. So be easy on yourself. Character modeling is a beast in itself. I think modeling in general should be your general gist and then character modeling. But again, you'll find this out when you actually have a roadmap. Take your flipping time and make tiny projects. This extends on my point initially where do not make Blender boring, because it can get very boring very quickly. Keep on getting motivated by people's posts on TikTok of little mini tutorials showing off something cool, and try to incorporate it into your own mini project, or go off the rails a little bit and take aspects from one course and add it onto this other course, and make the turnaround time small. Every Blender artist probably can tell you one story of like their first 6 months of Blender. They were super ambitious and try to make this like short film or really, really computer intensive like composition, and then finding out that they didn't know so many different things that Googling stuff every 5 seconds became exhaustive. Try have turnaround times that are like a week max, where you can actually show off a finished product by the end of that week. And the best way to do that is think of stuff that you see on TikTok where it's just maybe a character turnaround, or maybe it's just one aspect of a scene, or showing off like a shader that you figured out, or a geometry node that you started to like get a hang of and put into your own thing. Make your turnaround time small so you're failing quicker and you're learning quicker, because I'm telling you, this thing could get boring and you can end up just leaving Blender for months. And I don't want that for you. I want you to bring your little worms of information and creativity out and manifest them out there, okay? And look, the only thing that's gatekeeping you right now is a semi-decent PC. But like, there are plenty of people online, I'll show them above my head, that have shown that you can use Blender on a pretty low tier PC. Yes, there's going to be hurdles, and yes, you're going to have to be a little bit smarter than most, but do not let the fact that you have a burger of a laptop to stop you from Blender, period. Okay, there's definitely still aspects you can do, but maybe when you're thinking of making this sci-fi scenario, maybe that's not it. Maybe you can just mess around with some 2D tutorials. Like, you know, you can draw 2D in a 3D space. What's stopping you from dragging over some models online and then start drawing some stuff, adding a few glow effects, adding a shadow effect, and now you've made your own cityscape, you know? And it's a still shot, it's on animation. All this stuff, keep on scaling it down to the point where he's like, okay, this is the most doable thing I can do right now. Let me start with this and start building myself back up. That's how you learn things, and you just got to be a little bit more systematic and not balls to the wall, I feel, than other creative software like Premiere Pro. Because I felt like Premiere Pro, I picked it up decently well. After Effects, I picked up decently well. Blender was a learning curve in itself. Because once again, I just feel like you are a studio in your room. There is a guy for character modeling. There is a guy for character texturing. There is a guy for animation. There's a guy for rigging. And you're doing all this by yourself? Come on, man. Have a plan. Speaking of plans, I kind of want to talk about Mayorski Neo, which is his placeholder name right now, because I can't think of one right now. He doesn't really feel as much as a persona or more of an OC, so I feel weird calling him Mayorski, but let's just call him Neo for now. Mayorski Neo, because he is a better and way more furbished version than my last character model. And the reason why I think he did so well is because before heading straight into just trying to draw stuff out and bish bash bosh, I came up with a mood board for him, and I want to show it off today because I think it's pretty cool. I use this app called Milanote. This app called Milanote allows you to drag and drop stuff pretty easily on the internet, add little cue cards that you like, and, you know, start coming up with the concept drawings and concept designs for things you like. So I kind of want to show him off because I'm pretty proud of how he came out. So here's some general notes that I did talking about him. This character will be used as an OC in YouTube videos. I want to give him off a comfy, laid-back feel, like a 20-year-old something. He initially was going to have like a flannel, but then I decided against it because when I started looking at actual design philosophy, I wanted him to be bottom-heavy rather than top-heavy. I'll get into that later. So having him have a really loud, interesting-looking flannel would have took away from his trousers and his shoes. But yeah, a chill dude. He talks about video games. Like, you kind of have to be a bit of a nerd about this, kind of D&D it, I feel, when you're making a character, because it really gets you into the mood when you start getting good enough that you can start putting your thoughts and ideas into reality on Blender. You kind of just you don't want to only wing it, especially if, like me, you don't really have a decent enough reference. I'll show you what I ended up drawing. I don't know if I have the original drawing here, but I drew out this character, and then I refurbished it in Photoshop, tried out some color palettes, and then from there I went on Blender. But a lot of it was really simple shapes because I just wasn't that good at character modeling. I still don't think I'm that good now, but because of this Milanote thing, I think I had a pretty good, I was jumping off at the races at the beginning. So, facial features. Not a lie to say that I am a fan of the Amazing Digital Circus, and one guy I like as a character design is Jax, and how the fact that whether they just wanted to or not, they came up with a really cool way for me personally to avoid lip syncing, and that's having the skin on top of someone's face and having the skin move rather than the actual face. Jax's smile is always there, and you saw, if you've watched Amazing Digital Circus, you've seen that he's literally just like I don't know what to call, like a corn on a cob with skin on top. I really like that idea. And I also like the idea of, anime characters that just kind of have this static face on. This girl from Keep Your Hands Off Isaac, and I can't remember her name right now. But these kind of guys that just have like a static smug or just grimace on their face. I just really like that aspect. So I hate lip syncing, as I see very much there. So not only was it a cool design choice, but it was also like, there was a video I remember watching from this one other 3D YouTuber who said, like, if you don't like certain aspects from like art, just remove it. Especially with Blender, there is so many workarounds. And if you don't like the idea of lip syncing when you're going to be making your characters talk, you can just remove it. Get rid of their face altogether, or do something smart like here, or have a scarf over their face. Come on, man. Let's think of solutions. Solutions, boys. Solutions. I wanted him to look a little bit crazy. Just a little bit crazy, okay? And when I think of crazy, I think of this one girl from Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends. I can't remember why. I don't know why I can't think of her name right now. But with her body proportions, it is very much a thing where she has a big ass head, small like actual main body, and then more emphasis on her legs and her feet. And I think that whole kind of like pyramid kind of body shape really stands out to me. An example of this is a sketch drawing by Gox, and this is probably the main base design, I would say, for Neo in terms of his design, because I've always liked this drawing. I've had this drawing on Pinterest for ages, and you can see even in like the cardboard cutouts, even in the cardboard cutouts, when I couldn't think of ways to differentiate my character from Noodle, I really dance around with the idea that like my character wouldn't have actual hair, but like little spokes sticking, like, kind of just sticking out. And I never really got it. Like right now, he kind of looks like Tommy from Rugrats, where he just has like, he's basically balding, but he has like a few baby strands of hair sticking out. But I like this idea where it's actual kind of like irregular looking shapes floating over their head. And I think this looks even cooler in 3D, because when he turns around, you can see like, oh yeah, this is kind of looks like a headdress, but kind of not. So I thought that was cool. Moving on with the eyes, I didn't want him to have regular eyes. I wanted you to look at him and wonder if these are glasses or these are like his actual eyes that actual move independently from the fact that they could be glasses or eyes. So yeah, they're just circles, but they're also things that can like move around and kind of like make shapes that you would think this is an iris. This was the inspiration as well. All of this was on Pinterest, by the way. Body proportion size, I was a fan of Sonic, and I wanted him to give off Sonic vibes. So that's why I was talking initially where he has a round face, just like my character, which, because I want to emulate Sonic, but also it's just way easier to drag in a spherical circle than try to model off like a whole character face. And then big ass feet. And that would tell you that he is somebody who prides himself on his speed. Like, this is not a coincidence that Sonic has small legs, very, very thin legs, big feet, and a small midsection, with a big chibi head. I like that design philosophy. And to extend off of that, Ziploc, this YouTuber, I was like, I really like this design. You can see very much here, he wants you to emphasize on his legs here. I don't know if this guy's a speedster, but when I see this character design, I see very much somebody that put a lot of thought into how they want the character to come off. And this guy comes off as someone who is this, like, never sits down, zippity doodah. Maybe that's why his name is Ziploc. He just never sits down, and he's a little bit crazy in the head. So yes, this is something that I got seriously inspired by. When it came to the clothes, I wanted him to be relaxed. I wanted him not to give off too much of a thing, but I wanted him to have somewhat baggy shorts or jeans, but I also wanted him to kind of emulate me. And if you know anything about me, these are my favorite pair of trousers. They're like 3/4 shorts. I can't find the original Photoshop file, unfortunately, but I very much played with different color palettes because I wanted him to actually feel like somebody who actually had thought in terms of his color scheme. And I initially was going to very much follow like one of these, but at one point he didn't really feel like it worked for him. Like, these colors are a little bit too much. I kind of wanted him to be a little bit more chill. This Earth vibe kind of worked, but after a while I was kind of like, not really a fan of it. And I really liked this color scheme at the end, because him being like dark purple, I think gave him this kind of like chill space space hobo kind of feel. Like he felt like this otherworldly alien that was like you know, galaxy skinned. I don't know how to explain it, but some people understand what I mean. That on top of the fact that, you know, it's just really big shorts and like a small midsection. I was like, this is good enough for me to throw into Blender and actually, you know, start character modeling. But yeah, I'm just pretty glad that I was able to bring this to fruition. And if I can find the actual original image of him, it feels kind of surreal to see something that you worked on be like constantly like tweaked and reiterated, and then you finally come up with like a final design piece. You're like, wow, okay, I really kind of cooked. Now, I wouldn't start off with making my own character off the rip because again, this is not my first attempt. This is my second attempt, so I think that's why it came out a little bit better. And if you really want to know how I was able to model him, these two people worked really well, and this is what I say. Find people pertaining to you, because when I first started modeling, the person that I was suggested to, or this person, I'll just say this person, Crashune. And this was pretty good. Like if you're trying to find low quality stuff, this video is pretty intuitive and like it works. But if you can find something like that really fits your vibe, it's always better to keep on looking. And this person really helped me understand like what it means to character block out and make different things, and something a little bit more advanced because, you know, this person goes into shape keys and how to like actually rig different like mouth setups and eye setups. And with this one, you're essentially like, it's a flat image on top of like a character model, and that it very much can be what you want. It's just like, you know, I'm just suggesting that this person was really good, and I think her name is Stella. This girl right here, Stacy. So Stacy. She has a really cool tutorial on the low poly. If those two people that if you're trying to emulate that style, go ahead on that one. Also, continue watching Inspiration. The Blender conference, whether you understand it or not, is good to just watch and see people who are from indie backgrounds come up with professional careers. And you can very much see it's because of their style. It's not because they have a degree. It's not because they know the best, but they were able to really individualize themselves. And a lot of them come from humble beginnings where they decided to start doing character modeling or animation in COVID. And then they started to create like a brand for themselves because they kept on experimenting so many different things. And like, this is why I love Blender. Everything just feels like they're trying to share the love, share the community, share the information. Nothing is gatekept. So like, obviously maybe there's some stuff they might keep to their chest, but or maybe there's some stuff that is just very pertaining to them, so it's no point asking you them. But you can watch these videos and kind of like get inspiration of what you want to get out of this, and then by doing so you get more and more motivated to go and continue when those moments where you're on Blender for 8-9 hours a day and you just want to give up, because those moments will happen. Let's keep it a book. You are going to endeavor into learning a software that, to its respect, like does a lot in terms of trying to make it beginner friendly, but there's only so much beginner friendly you can give when the sky's the limit with how intuitive this app is. You're going to want to quit multiple times. And if you don't have forms of inspiration, forms of things you can just look back on and say, I want to make stuff like this, and also your mini projects that you've been slowly but surely building up, you're gonna want to drop Blender for like 6 to 8 months, and I don't want that for you. I want you to create stuff. I want you to create to your heart's content. I get giddy every day at the opportunity to find some kind of Instagram or TikTok tutorial on, oh, I did this with Blender, let me do this with Blender, and then they show you the shader setup so you can just go ahead and boot up Blender and do it yourself. It makes me so excited to work on this stuff, you know? And I think people should do it too. I can't believe that I'm such an advocate for a software as I am with Blender. Learn Blender. Learn the necessary skills to build towards your overall goal. Ask questions, and just know that there has definitely been someone that's asked the question before. Get involved in discords of YouTubers. Start asking questions. There'll be people to help you. I don't know what it is, but Tom cooked, because he's made a community of people that I've only been actually once so far when I ask a question pertaining to Blender, whether it's on the Blender Reddit, whether it's on a Discord, whether it's on a forum. Every other time, people are so happy to help out, so happy to ask you to give more information so they can figure out what's going on with your issue. That makes me want to create more. That makes me want to stay on this app. That makes me want to support Blender and actually put some money down. Honestly, the fact that I've been using it for this long and not contribute to the fund is kind of crazy. I might have to rectify that after this video, but yeah. if you guys like this and kind of want something a little bit more specific, a breakdown of how I do certain things, I'm happy to help. I am by no means even an intermediate. I still consider myself in between beginner and intermediate in a lot of aspects. But you know, that's the thing about Blender. Once you know like the base knowledge, you can make probably 80% of the stuff that you want to in a pretty, not effortless way, but simple way. Once you have a couple of things, a lot of it is actually just how it looks. Once you have the base assets there, you have to tweak around with the shaders and the lighting or whatever, and then you're wowing people, and people are saying, how'd you do that? And you're like, I got the shader from online. But they don't have to know that. You don't have to tell them that. You know what I'm saying? I'm yapping. Use Blender. I hope this motivates you. Continue supporting open source software, and yeah, happy blendering. I hope I get sponsored one day.